I talk of five-dimensional beauty philosophy. The first one is Nourish. The workshop around Nourish has already been done in our last webinar. If you are interested in knowing more about how foods create your beauty, you can just go to our YouTube channel and just go and listen back to the video out there. So precisely this is what Svarasya is all about and what we are trying to bring on board. So we have giveaway also for you all. Thank you for joining, and we would really want to appreciate you all for joining. There are some rules for participation. Most importantly, please keep your cameras on, because only those who keep their cameras on will be eligible for to be chosen as giveaway takers. So the giveaway will be based on the answers that you share with us about your experience in the workshop. So you can share your workshop at the end, or as we proceed in the workshop, whatever takeaways that you experience, you can just keep sharing in the chat box. That that's open to you. But basis the best answers that we get, we will be choosing the giveaways. We will also be looking for any topics on beauty that you would want to listen from us in the future. Is what we would also want you to share your thoughts on that, because of course we have a lot of topics to share in future workshops, but when it comes from you, considering what kind of skin beauty concerns that you're facing, that gives us some direction on what we should be talking about. And then we'll be choosing 2 lucky winners who would be getting a chance to win my book and one of our ancient skincare products called Sumukha. Okay, so again, as we move on to the workshop, let me just create a base for you all. What exactly, when we talk of these 5 dimensions, what is it all about? So Svarasya talks of beauty, our beauty philosophy is based on these 5 dimensions. We call these 5 dimensions as Nourish, Bodywork, Emotions, Self-realization, and Energy. So our previous 2 workshops have already been done, as I mentioned. You can go and listen to them on our YouTube channel. Today's workshop is about dimension number 2, which is Bodywork. Rest of the dimensions I'm not going to talk about right now, because we will be further conducting workshops on these dimensions as well, so that you get a deep-rooted idea how your emotions, how you connect with yourself, and how your energy levels ultimately culminate into any kind of skin issues, aging issues that you have been experiencing for a long time. Okay, before we move on, this is where we are. Your outer dimension, what is the state of your skin, what is the state of your hair, what is the state of your weight, all depends on, so that is something that is a manifestation of what is going on inside, right? So what shows on the outside, we are generally stuck at the level of understanding our beauty just at the outside, and we are just doing efforts to beautify ourselves from the outside. If you look at the modern beauty care or skincare trends, it is all about, if you have some acne issues or skin issues, ultimately it is about looking for a solution, which is maybe a derma solution or a best cream that can help you deal with your acne, or some anti-aging wrinkle cream that can help you deal with your wrinkles or aging issues. We are stuck at that level, but what is it that is deep rooted that has actually caused this is what we are going to talk about from the bodywork perspective. Of course, there are 5 dimensions to it, but today we are going to talk about the bodywork dimension. So ideally, from the deepmost perspective, it is the innermost aspect. What is happening at the deep level of your body is what fuels your beauty on the outside. This might sound very cryptic as of now, but as we proceed through the workshop, and if you listen to our previous workshops also, all these concepts will start to become very clear to you. Okay, coming to bodywork, which is the topic for us today. Okay. So when we look at bodywork and the areas of work for us, so we just talk of workout from the bodywork perspective. Movement or flow is what we define it as under Svarasya. Why? Because workout is a very narrow term. Movement and flow is the ebb of life. That's how nature designed us, and that's why we prefer to choose the word movement and flow. Of course, we are going deeper into it as we proceed in the workshop. But precisely, there are 4 dimensions to this. The first one is movement and flow. The second one is self-care. Third one is skincare, and fourth one is sleep, because nothing exists in isolation. If there is a day, there's a night. If there is activity, there also has to be a rest. So when we think of body work, we are always stuck in a movement mode, in an activity mode, in an do more mode. We go to gym, we'll spend 2 hours, 3 hours just working out, without realizing that Is it helping us, or is it causing harm to us? And do we need that kind of a rest also to balance out the level of activity we do with our workout sessions? So we are talking of all these concepts, but that's where we start from. Okay, so where are we today? I guess a lot of us can relate to what this screen talks about. Body work we do today as a part of our self-maintenance. What is our motive behind it? Either we want to maintain ourselves, or maybe we are going overweight and our healthcare practitioners told us to maintain ourselves from health perspective, of course. Or there could be some other reason, like maybe you're just very fond of exercising. That's the reason you are into any kind of workout practice. So precisely this is where our workout practice lies today. It's about looking for a very good kind of a gym where you get all the support and you can just sculpt your body, rather, I would say. Then once you're done with the workout, then you need, of course, the modern world has made us believe that kind of protein we need to maintain ourselves. And ultimately, when our protein needs are not able to be fulfilled right, then we move on to the supplements. I will not get into the food part in detail right now. For this part of it, from the food perspective, please go and listen to our YouTube video on Nourish, because there's a lot of detail covered in that workshop. But the whole idea is, I'm trying to create a scenario that this is where we are stuck today. We are looking for a workout place, looking for good amount of protein, and when we are not fulfilled, then we are looking for supplements, and this becomes a vicious cycle. That's where we are stuck today. Why we are doing it? We want to lose weight, or we want to build muscles for an attractive appearance, or we want a lean body or a toned body, or it could also be because of health reasons. Maybe because after a certain age, specifically after in your in or after your 40s, there is a need for weight training and supporting your body, because that's where the decline of the body starts to happen really faster. And then it could also be out of obsessiveness. Like we come across a lot of clients also who are just obsessed about workout. There is no need, but they just have to do it. And lastly, it could also be because your physicians may have recommended you some workouts for your health concerns, which is absolutely okay. We are not going against it. What we are trying to understand here is, where is your limit? So when I talk of all these concepts, please take it from the perspective of, we are not saying this is not right. We are saying this is absolutely right. But we are saying that we should know what is our limit, and what is right for us. So when you are informed, when you know, okay, this specific kind of a workout is going to give me this kind of result, and this is what I'm wanting, you are in a very well position to make out what kind of workout or body work would you want to choose for yourself. So this workshop gives you that flexibility. So ultimately, for a lot of people either into fitness or any kind of fitness activity, it could be Zumba or aerobics or gymming or outdoor body work, we often see people, by the time they're done with their workout, they're completely burn out. I guess a lot of us can relate to this. Is this what our workout should be? Is something that you should be looking into, because our body has certain limits. It's supposed to be in balance. When we create a burnout for ourselves, is it anyways helping us? Is what we are trying to understand here, okay? But and another important thing to know here is, probably if you are exercising or working out to an extent of burning out yourself, be very, very sure you are inviting your age very, very faster. How is what we will be discussing in the workshop later. Okay, so what happens when you get into a mindless body work kind of a pattern? When I say mindless body work, why we use the term mindless body work? Because body work is important. What we are talking of here is mindless body work. When you do not understand whether or not your body is capable of taking control of that kind of workout that you've chosen for yourself, or does your body have that kind of energy where you can spend 2 to 3 hours in gymming, or is your body fulfilled enough with nutrition to be able to take that kind of a stress that exercising creates? When you are not aware of all these factors, that's what we called mindless body work. Okay, what happens is, any kind of activity that you do, whether it be a strenuous activity or gymming, even yoga, okay, do create some kind of stress on the body. And when body is under stress, these are the 4 factors that get created inside the body, that ultimately, if not taken control of, in few years could take you towards very faster aging. So what are these 4 factors? Free radicals, it's lactic acid buildup in muscles, it's inflammation in your whole body, and the inflexibility. So again, this is one thing that I believe we all can relate to. Somebody who's a hardcore gymmer for a very long time, we can see that their body becomes very stiff. They move like a zombie. They do not have enough flexibility to move their body up, front and back, sideways. So of course they have muscles, but it's like a zombie walking with heavy muscles. So that is the kind of structure that extra exercise or getting too much into protein or doing more than what is required for you can give to you. Not initially, of course. Initially, definitely you will enjoy the kind of body you're wanting. Over time, with that kind of activity, you will become a moving. You probably will become a moving zombie if you're overdoing your exercising. So what are free radicals? Before we understand what are free radicals, just be very aware. Free radicals ultimately create a lot of inflammation, and that inflammation ultimately converts into aging. So how this entire cycle happens is, just look at the apple on the screen. The right side of the apple is very clean and clear, so just related to very clean skin or a very smooth kind of a skin texture that you may be having. And on the left, you see it's an oxidized kind of apple structure, all those brown spots. So relate this kind of a structure to wrinkling or pigmentation or any kind of damage that you see happening to your skin. What is this happening? What is happening is free radicals get produced inside the body. So when we say free radicals, these are being produced by a host of factors. It is not only body work or extra exercise that is giving you free radicals. Through the day, the kind of food choices that we are doing. So again, I would reiterate, if you would want to go deeper into what kind of foods are we talking about for these that cause aging, you will have to listen to our previous workshop. But I'll not get into the food detail of it. I'll specifically stick to how body work is causing free radicals. But just to create that base for you, free radicals are being created by the foods that we are consuming, by the kind of skincare products that we are using, by the kind of exercising regimes that we are following, by the kind of environment that we are living, by shallow breathing practices. So everything wrong that we are doing in our daily routine ultimately is dragging us towards creation of free radicals. What these free radicals at the deep level do, they damage the cell membrane. So when we say these damage the cell membrane, so we have something called DNA at the deeper levels of our cells. So if we are made up of trillions of cells, we have trillions of DNA present in each and every cell out there. So what is happening is, when free radicals are being produced, these go and damage the DNA. Now, when DNA gets damaged, this is the kickstart or the beginning of rapid aging inside the body. Now, this rapid aging is not only related to skin aging. Skin aging is just showing what is happening inside the body, which means if you have a lot of wrinkles, if you have a lot of pigmentation, if acne is happening to you, if fast aging is happening to you, if you're losing a lot of hair, it is an indication that free radical damage is at the peak inside your body. When that free radical damage is at the peak, it does not mean that only your skin is getting damaged. Your skin is showing or appearing to be, seen to be damaged. Why? Because internally, slowly, gradually, your cells are being damaged. Because your cells are getting damaged, your tissues are getting damaged. Because your tissues are getting damaged, the optimal functioning capacity of your organs is getting damaged. Your systems are not able to perform properly. When I say systems, your circulatory system, your respiratory system, your lymphatic system, these are getting compromised. And ultimately, because the internal machinery is not right, internally, the factors which make us beautiful on the outside are slowly getting to dry up, are slowly getting to get contracted. Ultimately, it's manifesting on skin as showing up as what you see on the left side of the screen on the apple. So free radicals, what they do is they cause a lot of breakdown of collagen. Now we know collagen is something that binds our skin, that keeps our skin structure intact, and collagen is deeply associated with youthful looks. Somebody who's into their 20s probably has very good quality skin. Why? Because their collagen structure is quite intact, not because of their dietary and lifestyle choices, but because their age is supporting them at that time. At 20s, your skin will not break out. But if you do not create a good lifestyle or dietary pattern or an exercising pattern for you, or if you do not work on all the 5 dimensions that we're talking about, ultimately gradually you will see within few years, specifically for women, as you enter your 40s, ultimately you will see rapid decline of your beauty starting to happen, your skin going for a toss, your hair going for a toss, your weight going for a toss, weight loss not happening. So it's all related to what starts to happen in your body in your 20s, which keeps happening and keeps destroying a lot of cellular structures inside, gradually bringing about changes in your organ functionality, and ultimately starting to show up on the skin. So what I'm trying to say here is, whatever shows on your skin is not what is happening, what has happened to you in last 2 days or in last 1 month. It's ultimately at the last level, when things inside have gone really wrong, it starts to show up on the outside. And so free radicals damage skin cells that are responsible for production of collagen, we've discussed, elastin and hyaluronic acid. So hyaluronic acid is responsible for that plump, dewy look on the face. So it's become a rage right now. I mean, there are a lot of hyaluronic acid products also available. Of course, these are good, that do support your skin structure from the outside. But then you have to also understand, you need support from the inside first and outside later. If you keep putting things on the outside and inside that damage keeps happening, that hyaluronic acid gel or product is not going to support you for a very long time. Okay, the second factor that gets built up because of extra, when you do mindless kind of a body work, is lactic acid. Now, lactic acid is a waste product created in the muscles as a part of muscle workout. And we know when we talk of body activity from gymming perspective, it's what we are only working on is the muscles. But one food for thought I would want to give you all here is, if you are into any kind of exercising regime, are we only muscles? Of course, muscles do beautify us. They give us that kind of shape and structure that we are looking for. But are we only made up of muscles? No, we are not made up of only muscles. We are made up of muscles. We are made up of skin cells. We are made up of capillaries and arteries. We are made up of blood structure. All these factors go hand in hand to give you the kind of appearance that you're looking for. It is not only muscles that will ultimately culminate into the kind of beauty that you're looking for. Ultimately, so if you look at the image on the right side, what happens is, when you do workout, any kind of workout, ultimately the mechanics behind it is, you need energy for workout, any kind of workout, and when that energy is being consumed by your body, by your muscles, ultimately it's glucose that your body is converting into energy. And when that energy is getting converted, lactic acid is a byproduct of energy production, which means lactic acid you cannot avoid. It is going to happen. It is a part of energy production which you need for exercising. What you need to know is how to manage lactic acid. So lactic acid is produced in muscles, and it's a waste that builds up during intense exercise. Though it is a temporary buildup, it is only when you're working specific kind of muscles. It ultimately, if you do not know how to handle lactic acid after your strenuous workout, that lactic acid stays in the muscles and doesn't flush out. When it stays is where, if any one of you ever experiences muscle soreness or inflexibility or muscle pain or cramping, is an indication that lactic acid is still stuck in the muscles. It's not flushed out. Ultimately, it's a toxin for the body. It's a toxin for the muscle. Ultimately, it will start destruction of cells, including skin cells. This will not happen in a day or two. This is a long-term pattern. So what we're talking of, if you're exercising in your 20s and 30s, probably you will be at the peak of, or the best of what you can look and feel. It is only when you start hitting your later years is where all these implications will start to show up from the skin perspective. But from the feeling perspective, from the body perspective, of course, muscle soreness and flexibility, muscle pain is something that you immediately experience. So now you know when this you're experiencing all these factors is probably because lactic acid release is not happening. Scientifically, of course, it is known that lactic acid buildup in muscles causes discomfort. It may also give you, it may make you unsleepy, and it does happen. When somebody gets into workout as a novice, there are times when you're not able to sleep and you do a lot of extra activity. You may feel tired after your workout. You may also feel weak. So this is all what scientifically we are told or is public. If you get deeper into yogic sciences, you will come to know that yoga has always considered lactic acid buildup in muscles as super aging waste of the muscles. And that is the reason, if you see Of course, there are much bigger reasons why yoga, there is a specific way how yoga is done. But from the scientific perspective, yoga does know that if we follow a specific kind of exercising pattern, we can very well control lactic acid. We'll be talking of all these concepts later. So just to give you a quick tip, if you are into gymming or if you're into extra kind of strenuous exercising, we are not saying that you stop it. It is much required. Please do it. But don't make it a mindless activity, one. Secondly, just and know your limits. And thirdly, we know if it is a muscular work that you're doing, lactic acid is going to happen. What are you supposed to do after you are done with your workout? Do not leave your workout place before stretching and relaxing. When you stretch and when you release your body, when you open up your body, that is where the flush out, and as and when the muscles get relaxed after contraction is where the lactic acid flows out of the body. This is one big mistake that we generally do. We do our exercising, we go to gym, we do a strenuous kind of exercise, we do not spend time for stretching and relaxing. We just come back and get back onto activity again. This is where lactic acid keeps in there in the muscles. And of course, enough water is very important, because for any kind of waste to be out of the body, you need water to flush it out. Okay, so why yoga is anti-aging? Okay, so some of the reasons, of course, we'll be talking of all these reasons in a little detail, but just to quickly talk about it. In yoga, the movements are slow and controlled. Yoga does support your muscles, but yoga is not a muscular activity per se. Like gymming is specifically a muscular activity. Yoga is not a muscular activity. Yoga is always done in synchronization with the breath. When breath goes in and your muscles are used to a level where they're supposed to, all those waste materials which are produced out of extra need of the body for energy are not produced that way, because your body is not consuming that amount of energy which is required at the time of extra or strenuous exercise that you do. Stress is not on movement and muscle. So in yoga, we do not have focus on if you look at the new forms of yoga, which are like power yoga or vinyasa style yoga, and all these yoga forms, of course, these are movement related, and these are good. I'm not denying that. These are definitely good. But if you go back to the traditional forms of yoga, traditional form of yoga was never about movement. It was about getting into a pose or an asana and just staying there, maybe for a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and just staying there. So when you're not using your muscles, your body's need to pull out extra energy is not there. When energy is not being pulled out, lactic acid is not being produced. So that's the simple science behind it. And of course, if you look at the pattern of yoga, when you get into yoga, you of course do first get into warm up, and then you do a series of circulatory practices. Then you get into main yoga practices or specific asanas that you want to practice, which could be either vinyasa style, or could be just hatha style, which is like just getting into a posture and being there. And once you're done with all that, even if you're tired, you give ample time for your body to relax, to breathe deep, and to spend some time on meditation. That is where the lactic acid produced, even if at all if it is produced, gets a chance to get out of the body, which means yoga keeps negating whatever gets built up as and when it gets built up, because of the way it is practiced, because of the way it came up. Okay, just to give you a quick differentiation between how yoga is anti-aging and exercise may be aging for you if you do not manage it well. Yoga helps develop muscles, evenly increasing flexibility. We know that. In exercise, the focus is on increasing muscle mass, which means when you're constantly contracting and expanding your muscles, putting extra focus on your muscles, of course, you're building muscles. But in the whole process, what you're also doing is you're decreasing the muscle length and flexibility. And that's the reason, if you remember, I just mentioned somebody who's into a very strenuous kind of fitness regime, ultimately, probably, after a few years may walk like a zombie, because that flexibility factor probably is gone. Yoga is also an energy efficient activity because of the way it is structured and done. Yoga gives you more energy, and exercise can be energy depleting. We know after you're done with the workout, you're done for the day. You need some time to kind of revive back your energy. But after a good yoga session practiced in a certain way, it will have probably similar kind of results from your body perspective if you're more or less maintained. But this is a huge difference between energy efficient and energy depleting, because if you're energy deficient, which happens because of exercising, a lot of internal functionality goes for a toss. That is super aging, which we will of course talk in the later, when we talk of the beauty systems in the session today. Okay, so body is relaxed and body requirement is reduced in asana, because if This is only when if you are doing static asanas, not into a lot of, with vinyasa kind of a movement or constantly getting into power yoga kind of practices. And if you look at exercise, it strains muscles, it increases the speed of circulation. The rapid the speed of circulation, the rapid your aging is going to be. So that's a very simple formula. If I have to give you one takeaway from the session, as soon as you feel your heartbeat is going up and circulation is up on a constant basis, we do need it. I'm not denying on that. I mean, some part of the day or early morning, you definitely need to speed up that circulation, because when that circulation goes up, the detoxification process of the body goes up. So it is required to a certain extent, very much required. But if your body is constantly in a speeded up circulation mode, it creates a lot of pressure on your entire body, including your blood vessels. That is the super speed aging mode that you're living into. So workload on respiratory system is reduced in yoga, whereas oxygen usage gets increased in exercise. Why this happens? Because in yoga, when you get into a posture, and if you mindfully observe yourself, you will realize that your breathing becomes calmer, it becomes deeper, it becomes really, that shallow breathing pattern is gone, which may be a consistent pattern in exercising. One, why? Because we do not give extra focus on exercise, on breathing patterns during exercise. One. Secondly, by nature, strenuous exercising demands a lot of energy. When you need a lot of energy, your breathing, generally gets faster. So it is the technique that is to be blamed for that. Yoga reduces cortisol linked to faster aging and inflammation. So this is about hormones. I'll talk of it a little detail later. But just for now, just try to understand, yoga does have a very soothing effect on your hormonal system, and one of the hormones which is produced as a part of a stress mechanism, which is cortisol, takes you very fast towards aging, which yoga has the power to control. But when you do exercise, as a part of inherent process of how exercising goes, cortisol production increases, which means quick results definitely you will get, but this, what we're talking about from the aging perspective, is from the long-term perspective. 10 years later, 15 years later, what is going to happen? Your aging will be way faster if your exercising regime is way too strenuous, without any relaxation, without any deep breathing practices, without any control on that lactic acid buildup that is happening because of your exercising needs. Then yoga promotes balanced state of mind. This is related to how mind creates beauty. This is one topic that we will be covering in our future workshops when we talk of emotions and beauty. So I'll not get into detail about this, but just for your information, just understand, if your state of mind is not balanced, ultimately a lot is showing on your face. Exercise produces a lot of lactic acid, which we have just discussed is highly aging. Regular yoga practice can help you reverse some of the acquired stiffness. It keeps you flexible. Flexibility means open flow. When the body is free flowing from inside, all the liquids are free flowing, all the air or the prana is free flowing. When prana is free flowing is where you are at the peak of your beauty or health or wellness, whatever you call it. It's all two sides of the same coin. Okay, so yogic approach to fitness versus modern fitness. Strenuous exercise ultimately ends up giving you free radicals. It ends up giving you lactic acid in muscles. It ends up giving you inflammation, inflexibility. Whereas the same time spent in yoga done in a specific pattern will improve your antioxidant levels, which is required to deal with the free radicals. Which means this is completely opposite of what exercise is doing to you. Then you have relaxed muscles, because when you have relaxed muscles, ultimately that lactic acid buildup is controlled, because of which you are saving yourself from that aging by not producing that much of lactic acid. Your breathwork heals inflammation. Inflammation is very highly aging. We'll talk of it later. And then flexible spine, agelessness. If you go into Ayurveda or yogic sciences, there is just one definition of anti-aging. It's about flexible spine. Specifically in yoga, they just say anti-aging is equal to flexible spine. Okay. So now this is a very different perspective. This is the cream of the whole session. Just try to understand this very nicely. We just know our beauty from the skin perspective. This is what we spend our entire life doing, beautifying our skin, finding that one solution that just gives that radiance out on the skin or face or body, whatever. Which are the systems which are working in the back end to give your skin the kind of skin or hair or weight that you're looking for? All these systems that we have studied till date, as digestive system or respiratory system or hormonal system, nervous system, lymphatic system, circulatory system, are also your beauty systems. Let's understand how. Okay, so when you talk of digestion and beauty, Somebody into Ayurveda very well knows that beauty begins in the gut. 98% of your, rather 96% of your, not just beauty, but your health and wellness lies in your gut. So if your digestive system is working at its peak, it would be rare that you would be having any kind of weight issues or skin issues or hair issues. Why is it so? Very quickly, beauty and radiance and clear skin and optimal weight is dependent upon nutrients. We know that our skin is made up of certain nutrients. Now, the only processing unit inside the body that processes or extracts these nutrients out of our food and supplies it to our skin is our digestive system, which extracts the nutrients, and ultimately after extraction, it kind of mixes that extract or the essence into the blood. This blood passes through the body altogether and passes on those molecules of nutrients to each and every each and every cell inside the body, which means if we have trillions of cells, our blood has a connection, trillions of connection to each and every cell, passing on that minute dot of blood to each and every cell, which is food for that cell. That is where what your cell needs is getting in, from not just nutrition but also oxygen. And that's why respiratory system is also your beauty organ, beauty system. When in the cell, that nutrition, that very good quality nutrition reaches your cell along with the molecule of oxygen. What gets created inside your cell is the magic, is what culminates into that beautiful skin or that lustrous good hair or that controlled weight that you're looking for. So Ayurveda mentions that nourished cells with pure blood for youthfulness, vitality, and radiance. How does that happen? That pure blood will happen when you look into your foods. Again, for the food part, of course, you can refer to a previous workshop. But the very first, and that is the reason digestive system is the very first organ or the beauty system of the body. Why? Because the first level of beauty requirements are coming from our food, which digestive system is working on. And what is digestive system dependent upon to work nicely? It is dependent upon the choices of food. It is dependent upon what time do you eat, what is your eating pattern, what are your eating timings, what are your eating habits, what do you choose to eat, what are your food combinations, is your hydrochloric acid or your Agni, which Ayurveda calls it as Agni, is at its peak to be able to burn and extract those nutrients out of the body. So this is again a very deep-rooted topic. We will be doing a separate workshop on that. But this gives you a very broad idea that if you can work on your digestive system, is where you will start to see changes happening to your acne, to your wrinkles, to your pigmentation, to whatever you can, whatever skin or hair concerns that you are experiencing right now. Now, the second system of beauty is your respiratory system. This is one system which is I come from a yoga background, so I would say, of course, people do say that food is the first requirement for the body. From a yogic perspective, a yogi knows that before food you need breath, oxygen, or air, and at a subtle level we call it prana to fuel yourself. So this is a very broad concept, but if you look at it just from the beauty perspective, oxygen in the body is something that's way beyond. It's a solution for most chronic skin condition. And a very quick realization for you all on this: any one of you, if ever goes out for a jogging or is into some yogic practice, good yogic practice where you spend time sweating out yourself, and where your breathing practice really goes high, and then when you relax, that is the time you have the best skin through the whole day, because your body has just been oxygenated. So oxygenation or oxygen is the free of cost power beauty aid that you can we can call it like that. So breath is a super powerful free of cost tool and an opportunity every second for you to create beautiful skin from inside, because oxygen is also it alkalizes us. It kind of burns out acid inside the body. When we have a lot of acid inside the body, it shows up everywhere. It shows on the skin, it shows in the health conditions, it shows in our digestive distress, it shows as arthritis, it shows as heart disease. So the base of every kind of lifestyle health concern starts with toxicity starting to build up inside the body, and too much of acid inside the body is huge toxicity. So breathing is our only source of absorbing prana. So this is the subtle side of breathing. Yogic sciences and Ayurveda talks of this concept of oxygen more from the pranic perspective, because there's a very deep understanding of this concept. But I guess for us, it's important to know that ultimately it is about breathing well and taking oxygen in. For those of you interested in getting to know more about prana, we will be doing another workshop on that, but that would be more from the yogic perspective. So, okay, coming back to oxygen. In the absence of proper oxygenation, each cell remains deprived of oxygen, much required to produce energy. So, if you are eating very well, best foods on earth, but if your breath is not proper, if you are a shallow breather, if you do not have oxygen inside the body, that good food or the best food on earth becomes poison inside the body, because your body cannot process or break out that best food until it has oxygen inside, because cells works with two molecules, one molecule of nutrient and one molecule of oxygen. This leads to early deterioration of the body. So if your body is not oxygenated well, it leads to deterioration of body cells and ultimately creates a lot of inflammation inside the body. And deep breathing works at metabolic level, keeps your cellular health vibrant. And this is what I just talked about. Like when you go out for a good, run outside, and when you come back, you are at the peak of your radiant self from the inside. Why? Because you have just filled yourself with oxygen. Okay, so before we move further, there's this 4-7-8 breathing practice. If anyone would want to practice this, maybe I can just give you a clue, and as I say, you can just experience this in practice. So 4 is the you breathe in for a count of 4, like 1. So you just take a deep breath in, count till a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and stop for the count of 7. So just hold that breath in for a count of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now release very slowly to a count of 8. It is almost the double time you're taking to release than the time you took for inhaling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So any one of you, if you did that practice, just try to follow that practice for about 5 minutes. You will immediately feel very, very recharged. What did this practice do to you? This practice, one, increased, at the very first level, prepared you for deep oxygenation. How? Count of 4, you took in less breath. So when you get into this deeper breathing practice, it's also about cleaning your respiratory tract of the held out air. So we hold a lot of carbon dioxide inside the body, which is supposed to get out. This breathing practice will not only help you start to breathe deeper, but also help you release whatever carbon dioxide you're holding in. Carbon dioxide is super aging. Like if you know somebody in your circle who has a very sedentary kind of a lifestyle, who doesn't move much, and specifically your older generations, who immediately start to show up a lot of signs of those deep wrinkles and sagging kind of a skin. Probably if you look at their lifestyle, you will come to know that they are very shallow breathers. Probably they're holding a lot of carbon dioxide in their body. So 4-7-8 breathing practice is a very beautifying and health building practice. So maybe you can just make a part of your lifestyle. Okay, your hormones and beauty. A slight disturbance in your hormones can change everything from your weight to your skin condition to pigmentation to whatever skin conditions that you can think of. How does that happen? So there are various hormones that are circulating inside the body. We know that we have a lot of hormones working for different purposes, but very at a layman language, if we have to understand what are hormones. Hormones are basically, it works like something like an internal postal system. So you get some message from the external stimuli which you sense, like for example whatever you're listening to me right now in the session. Okay, how is it getting inside your brain and how your body is absorbing it? The sound that is getting produced is being sensed by your body. Those signals are being passed on to your brain, and your brain is processing it and telling your body that this is happening, or maybe telling your senses that this is what you understand out of what we are speaking, what I'm speaking right now. This entire process from your brain to the specific part of the body where you understand what is happening, or so supposedly you have to move your hand. So when you're moving your hand, that movement is just an action, is a manifestation of some signal being passed from your brain to your hand to move. And similarly, If you get that acne, if you get those wrinkles, if you get that any kind of beauty concerns, ultimately something is being manipulated at the brain level, being passed on to those specific beauty systems which are not functioning right, and ultimately because they're not understanding the information right, they are producing something which is not required for your beauty or skin. Just also when I kind of talk about beauty and skin, relate all these things to beauty and skin, this is at the surface level. This also means the same concepts are equally applicable to your health and wellness also, but we are just talking of what is happening outside when this entire system is not functioning fine. So keep a very broader outlook to whatever we are discussing right now. So what happens is your brain did not get that signal right. Now, what is it that your brain uses to pass on that signal to that specific system to tell it that this is what you're supposed to do? It is your hormones. So hormones act like a postal system. It is something like a letter sent by your brain to that specific system telling it behave like this. It's a piece of code. The message that your system gets is how it behaves. So if you got an acne because something, your skin tissues, your skin cells were clogged, it was a signal internally sent at multiple levels. Ultimately that converted into an acne. If those wrinkles have started to form, there is some miscommunication happening at the hormone level. Your brain is communicating something which is not right for your beauty, and that's how your systems are behaving to give you that kind of an appearance that of course you're wanting to change. So it's a very deep rooted philosophy, but the whole idea is now what works here. This is little off topic, but because we are here on the same topic, anything that you can do to support your thinking and brain and emotions, which is our, of course, next topic of the session. But just because we're talking of this, if you know how to balance your brain, not just your health, not just your well-being, but your skin and beauty concerns automatically start to sort out. Why? Because the thinking activity is all done by the brain. If the signals pass on right to the brain, those right signals are passed on to the hormones send the right signals to the systems, and then systems start to behave right. So it's that deep-rooted cycle going on. But some of the hormones which are very deeply associated with how your appearance gets affected in the longer run, estrogen, which is the female hormone. This is responsible for plumpiness on your skin. This is responsible for your body weight and the shape of your body. This estrogen is also responsible for moisture levels on the skin. So precisely this is the beauty hormone. Okay, this hormone in our early years, say till by 30s, it's very well maintained. Naturally, we are not doing anything about it because our bodies, we are at the peak of our reproductive health, and reproductive health is good. Estrogen is more or less balanced. That is the reason in our 30s we look and feel very good. It is only when we start to hit late 30s and early 40s or mid 40s, we drastically start to see, 5 years, 10 years, till 5 or 10 years, my skin was very good. I don't know what immediately started to happen. What is happening is that decline is happening at the hormone level, and this decline is a part of aging. We cannot stop it. It is how humans have been designed to evolve over time. The only thing that we can do is we can delay it, and the delay process is beautiful. The delay process is all about eating right. It is all about living right. It is about your lifestyle. It is about the thought patterns that you carry. Everything, those 5 dimensions of beauty that we're talking about is where everything is coming and merging here. So coming back to estrogen, if your estrogen is imbalanced, so for a lot of women who go through PMS, who have a lot of period issues, who have a lot of fertility issues, breast tenderness, weight issues, skin concerns, probably in most of the cases it's basically estrogen at play, and that's the reason you ought to sort out your hormones, and that's why endocrine system or the hormone system is again one of the beauty systems that we have to really look into deeply. After 40, the female reproduction system starts to slow down. That's where we start to see a lot of aging issues starting to happen to us. This is the time, like if you took care of yourself in your 20s very nicely, 40s is the time you need to double up your efforts, not just from the skincare perspective, but from eating right perspective, but from the perspective of getting into right kind of exercising and definitely doing it, getting into some weight training, because that's where you start to lose out muscle mass also, getting into some kind of meditative practices. Why? Because the more soothed down your brain is, the better signaling, and the better signaling, the better appearance you will have. Now, the second hormone that is also deeply connected to your appearance is cortisol. Now, this is a stress hormone. This is produced when we are under stress. And when I say under stress, it is any kind of stress. For example, you have to cook something, say for example, okay, and you are not very fond of cooking, but you have to do it. Like if we consider today's time, the stress that gets builds up with just a thought of cooking something, if at all it happens to you, is also stress for the body. So anything that constricts you, that contracts you, is a stress for you. It could be anything. It could be a thought, it could be an activity, it could be your personal nature, it could be any trigger from the outside, anything. And that is where, our fourth dimension, which we talk of as self-realization, comes into the picture. The session will happen later, of course, but the whole idea is the more you're connected with yourself, the more you're mindful about yourself, the more you are in a better condition to help yourself, not just from health perspective, but you have a lot of control on your appearance once you become aware of your emotions, and you become self-aware. Coming back to cortisol, what it does is if it is produced in excess, cortisol is going to happen again. It's a very normal part of our of human existence. It definitely will happen. The only thing we need to know is that we have to work towards its excess production. If we can do that, we are well sorted, because excess production of cortisol, what it does is it hampers the functioning of digestive system. It hampers the functioning of the flow of blood inside the body. And circulatory system and digestive systems are the systems which are directly connected to our skin cells. So if skin cells are not getting nutrition through the right circulation of blood, ultimately your skin, you do whatever best anti-acne treatment, best salon treatment, it's not going to work. Why? Because what it needs from the inside is not being provided with that kind of an input. So when you control cortisol, automatically you keep your digestive system working well, you keep your circulation well. That circulation well and digestion well ultimately will provide skin cells the nutrients it wants, and that's where that radiance and plump or whatever, the radiance that you're looking for the inside automatically will happen to you. And excessively oily skin and facial hair overgrowth has its roots in testosterone imbalance. This is precisely a male hormone, but males do have female hormones, females do have male hormones. So, but the quantity varies. So, in females, of course, females' hormones are on a higher side, and in males hormones are on a higher side. Testosterone, even females have, and that's the reason somebody who has a lot of facial hair, who has a very manly kind of a voice, who showcases certain manly traits, is because their testosterone levels are maybe higher, it is imbalanced. So this is where, again, if you have those kind of appearance tendencies, in that case, again, hormonal system becomes your peak beauty system that you need to work on. Okay, how is nervous system connected to beauty? We've already discussed it, but I'll just make a connect here. We just discussed how brain passes on the signals, right? Now, what is it that passes those signals to the brain? So this is a step before, like whatever I'm speaking, you are grasping, and you are understanding, and then your actions, what you're supposed to do later. So whatever is being told to you right now, your senses your ears are hearing it. Now, that information which your ears are hearing and what your brain is sensing out of it is being passed on through your nerves. The nerves are the connections, and these nerves do have electric impulses, like if you see in the picture on the right. And that's the reason we at Svarasya we have devised this approach, what we call as pranic beauty. Why? Because those the small lights that you see in the image on the right, it's basically at very minute deep level, where ultimately, if you kind of break down body at a very subtle level, we are nothing but electricity. We are being operated at electric level, and that's the reason we feel the current also. I mean, this is something that's a very deep-rooted topic, not to get deeper into it, but what I'm trying to say here is your beauty, your health, your wellness starts at a very, very deep level. What we are doing on the surface or on the outside is supporting it. Of course, it is supporting it. Our skincare is supporting it. Our bodywork is supporting it. Our exercising is supporting it. Only if we are doing it right. If we are supporting what is happening at all the beauty system level, only then. If we are overusing our beauty systems by doing something on the outside, then it's just a peace of mind that we are helping ourselves, because these systems which are supposed to beautify us on the outside are under a lot of pressure, and we don't want that. So how nervous system gives you that, spoils your appearance. We are living in an active mode, like we know. Even before we get up, our mind is running 100 places. We are never in a relaxed state, to the extent that people who sleep, either sleep late, or a lot of people have a lot of aggressive kind of dreams. We come across people and they never feel rested. So do you think sleep is enough as a resting mechanism? It's not. Why? Because sleep and rest are two different things. Probably yes, you sleep, but in that sleep, are you resting? No. Why? Because your brain may be working fully. How do you know that? Maybe you're dreaming a lot, maybe you're thinking a lot, maybe your brain is all, activity is on a high, even if you're sleeping, and it is not a restful state. Which means if you think that I wake up early, I do my activities, and then by the evening I sleep in time, and if you're not sleeping well, if you are into that mode of too much of thinking and too much of dreamy state and all that, you are still active. So broadly, if you calculate how much time are you active, maybe there is a possibility out of 24 hours you're 20 hours active. Why? Because your brain is still working. So when we are in that kind of active mode, your nervous system is active, because whatever inputs either from the outside or from the inside are being communicated throughout the body, it is the part of that nervous system to communicate it through to the brain, or from the brain to the other parts of the body. So when this system is up, what is happening is this mode is also responsible for pulling of blood supplies from skin. Why is it so? This concept goes back to when you are overthinking, you are stressed, right? You are stressed, that's why you're overthinking. When that stress happens, what happens? Cortisol gets produced, which is a stress hormone. When cortisol is up, we have just discussed, your digestion shuts down, your circulation shuts down, your circulatory system shuts down. When it shuts down, the blood which is supposed to reach the skin cells to beautify or give that radiance to the skin, that blood is pulled out from the skin periphery and passed on to the areas where you need blood to be able to produce more energy to bring yourself at balance. So just understand one thing, your body always try to maintain balance for you. It will always try to make you survive. So because that you are not supporting yourself in that survival process, body is finding out its own ways, how do I survive myself. As a part of that mechanism, it is using all that blood which is supposed to go to the skin for creating the kind of beauty you're wanting. It is pulling that blood and passing on to other areas. It is passing on to the cells to produce more energy, extra energy, to handle the situation of crisis. It is something like that. So when that happens, we know, like when you're very sad or when you are in a state of shock, what happens? People generally say that the color from the face is gone. Like if you hear old people, they used to say, there's no color on the face. So this is just a statement out there, but this is reflective of what is happening inside the body. Ancients, by their intuitiveness, knew what is happening at a deeper level. So body supply to the skin is much required to enhance radiance and enliven complexion. That's the reason circulatory system also becomes your beauty system, which is next we are discussing. And alternatively, so what happens is, when you are able to establish your relaxation mode, when you do something for your relaxation, it could be 10 minutes of deep breathing, the 4-7-8 breathing practice that we just discussed, or you can take small little breaks just to come back to yourself, center yourself, and restart doing your work, or do anything that immediately relaxes you. It could be listening to music, it could be just being into silence, it could be journaling, it could be whatever you like doing. Ultimately, you regain your relaxation mode. As you regain your relaxation mode, the muscles loosen out, the tight parts or the tightened nerves loosen out. When everything loosens out, the blood supply automatically again resumes back to the periphery, and that's where you again regain what your skin needs. So deep relaxation is at a very deep level, is much required for the kind of appearance that you're looking for. And that's one of the reasons why sleep works, because during sleep you are completely in a relaxed mode. There's nothing. For most of the people, of course, who's overthinking will not have that kind of feeling that we're talking about. But a lot of people who are able to, sleep well, morning is the time when the skin is just glowing. Why? Because everything inside was so loose that whatever fluid exchanges had to happen, whatever air exchanges had to happen, were happening very smoothly inside. Okay. Lymphatic system. This is one system that is not talked much about, but this is one system that, at least at Svarasya, we focus a lot on. Why? Because this is something like the sewer system of the body. So what happens when your sewer gets blocked? You ultimately, it may not show up. Sewer may just keep clogging a lot of toxicity. Of course, it may happen that the drainage may not happen 100%, but there will be a time when the drainage is not 100%, and everything starts to just show up at the sink level, and the water doesn't flow out. This is exactly what lymphatic system may go through inside the body. with the kind of lifestyle choices that we make, food choices that we make, the kind of toxicity that we are putting inside our skin through our skincare products, through a lot of stuff that we are doing, or the pollutants, ultimately, if there is no mechanism that we are following to clean our system from the inside, of course, there are different ways of doing it, but from the lymphatic perspective, it is something like doing something which enhances the movement of each and every part of the body. It's something like shaking your hands or jumping high, or some activity like a trampoline activity or skipping activity. What it happens is it completely shakes you from top till bottom. Any shaking activity inside the system will kind of shake those nodes that you see on the right side in the screen. Those green nodes in that structure, those nodes hold a lot of toxicity. So when you shake them with the activity, and the irony of this is, these nodes do not get shaken until we shake ourselves. There is no mechanism or system inside the body that body says, okay, the sewer system is all full, now I need to shake it out to remove all that toxicity. And this is the system where your immunity starts to go down. Like we are in these pandemic times, and nobody is talking of lymphatic system. We are talking of improving immunity. We are talking of improving digestion health. We are talking of 100 other things. We are not talking of lymphatics. But most of the toxicity is accumulated in lymphatics, and if we are not moving our body, it keeps on accumulating. So even if your circulation is good, but at the sewer level, the toxicity is not being taken out well, your system is still under pressure, a lot of it. Your immune system is still very weak. If immunity is weak, ultimately everything else will start to break down inside the body. So what are the first signs of clogged lymphatic system? Somebody who wakes up with a very puffy or bloated kind of a face and body, please be sure that you need to work on your lymphatic system. And clogged lymphatic system leads to toxin accumulation. These are the same toxins which give you acne, which give you premature aging, graying of hair, loss of elasticity, and flaky skin texture. What are the best ways that you can help your lymphatic system with? If you have a trampoline, jumping on trampolines 5 to 7 minutes a day is a very good idea. If you can do skipping 5 to 7 minutes a day, that also shakes your lymphatic system. And worse still, if not possible to do any of these practices, doing dry skin brushing. So dry skin brushing is something like take a dry brush or a dry coarse towel also works well, and start rubbing your body for 5 minutes just before bathing from the bottom of your feet and come upwards in a circular motion towards your heart. What it does is, because you are kind of rubbing and stimulating each and every part of the body, this lymphatic system is just under the layer of the skin. It gets stimulated and enhanced, and it gradually starts to break down a lot of toxicity from the lymphatic level. It's a very simple activity. Maintaining lymph system is very, very easy. The only part is because it is so easy and simple that nobody is talking about it at all. But from your immune perspective and from your beauty perspective, this is one area that can make huge lot of a difference. So do spend some time working on your lymphatic system. And lastly, your last system of your beauty is the circulatory system. We have talked a lot about it, but just to reiterate, blood quality is the marker of what skin quality you have. Somebody who has a very rosy kind of a complexion does have that. Why? Because the circulation towards the skin or the face is really nice. Somebody who has a head full of really nice lustrous hair. Why? Because circulation is passing on those nutrients to the hair follicles. So blood is the carrier of all the nutrients, and skin and hair needs do blossom at its full capacity only if your circulation is well, which means exercising is an absolute must if you really want to maintain yourself for a longer time. Your blood ought to be pushed to the extremities. Now, circulation does not happen to us naturally. I mean, of course, to a certain level, it will be maintained. But if we really want a good circulation, maybe some body work is required, some exercising is required, yogic practices are required. So some of the good ones are, you can try practicing 8 to 10 rounds of Surya Namaskar. This gives a really good boost to your circulation practice. How do you know that your circulation is well? As soon as you start breaking out sweat under your arms, even if you are not in a health condition where you can do a lot of Surya Namaskars, as soon as you're able to break out sweat under your arms, that is an indication that your circulation has gone to a good level. So that's a small indication. So even if the 8 to 10 rounds do not work very well for you, practice 4 to 5 rounds or 2 to 3 rounds and reach to a stage where you start to feel that you have broken sweat, just broken sweat to a certain level, and then that's enough for your circulation if you don't want to go further. And from the self-care practices to boost circulation, body massage, Abhyanga body massage, which is an Ayurveda practice, is one of the most talked about practice in Ayurvedic modality for a good circulation. Okay, so what are the yogic practices that support all these beauty systems? When you're talking of lymphatic system, it is supported by skipping and jumping activities. When you're talking of circulatory system, it is supported by Surya Namaskar practice and then other kind of cardio practices. So if you are not into yogic practices, maybe any cardio practice, of course, in limits, you should be knowing your limits, is a good way of supporting your circulatory system. Your hormonal system and nervous system is supported by inversions. Inversions are something like when your heart is above your head. So when your head is down or legs are up, something like a head pose, or even Padahastasana pose, or mountain pose, where your head goes down and your heart comes up. So getting into inversions. Then your meditation practices, which soothe down your nervous system, because of which hormonal system also starts to balance out. Digestive system, spinal twists are something like the image that you see on the extreme right. Those spinal twists where you twist your waistline to kind of give internal abdominal massage is a good practice for your digestive system. And for your respiratory system, it is supported by deep breathing practices. So all the beauty systems that we have just discussed have their own ways of getting supported by certain body work practices. So these are some of those, like you can design your body work practices based on these concepts. So that will make sure that all these systems are being worked out well. Okay, so this was about from the exercising perspective. But as we said, body work is not just about fitness and exercise. It is way beyond that. What all is a part of it. So we cannot cover. It's a very vast topic. But in this workshop, we've just tried to give you an idea about what all body work is all about. So we are just covering some very root level basics of this, but this is very vast and deep. Of course, we'll be doing a lot of workshops around these concepts individually, but just try to grasp the concepts. Fitness is just, or exercising is just one part of body work. Another part is self-care. Now self-care is majorly about how do you take care of yourself. From the exercise perspective, we are working on our muscles, we are working on these systems through yogic practices. What are we doing for our senses? What are we doing anything for our eyes? Are we doing anything for our nose? Because these senses have a huge role to play. Of course, their beauty is one thing, but from functioning perspective, these are something that make us experience the world. Like through our eyes, we experience the world. Through our nose, we experience the world. So these senses is basically where we experience the world. Are we doing anything about it? So I guess Ayurveda is the most science that talks of self-care practices. Some of the good ones are self-massage, Abhyanga massage that we just discussed, which what it does is it moisturizes skin. Of course, from the outside it beautifies. We know body massage is good for us. But what it does at the deeper level, it enhances circulation. We have just understood how circulation is your beauty system. It improves lymphatic function, and lymphatics we've also tried to understand how it makes a difference to your appearance. And it reduces daily stress, which means it also impacts your nervous system. When stress is related to your nervous system, so if you're able to take control of your stress, nervous system automatically starts to balance out. When daily oil practice becomes a part of your daily habit, gradually you will see your skin will age much lesser than people who are not into daily massaging practice. The only condition here is the kind of oils that you use should be really pure. Why? Because your skin is semi-porous. Whatever you apply on the skin, quite a part of it gets absorbed into your bloodstream. When it goes to your bloodstream, and if those toxins are entering your bloodstream, it is toxicating your lymphatic system, it is toxicating your liver. Your liver is having extra load to process those toxins. So a lot of inputs that we are taking from the outside, either through our foods or as pollutants, or from our skincare products, we are not even aware what kind of toxicity are we taking in. I'll talk of it later. There's some eye-opening research which was a part of my education when I was doing it. It was I guess everyone should know that that's how that revolution of change is going to happen. So oil massage, of course, is one of the practice that can keep you really ageless for a very long time. If you would want to look at some of the pure oils, you can look at our website. This is one thing also that we are doing in the oil segment, because coming from that ancient beauty perspective, we do understand what is the importance of oil for your self-care, for your self-care. So coming on to self-care, the second practice, one of the other practices, Jalneti. What it does is, like we are practicing, we are doing exercising for our muscles of the body. Our face is also muscles. Are we doing anything for the muscular health of our face? Why? that plumpiness or that structure of the face that we have in our early years starts to just sag down when we get into our 40s or 50s or later in our later years. So some of the good practices from the Ayurveda perspective are Jalneti. How it helps us, it is not just about cleaning your nose. When the water passes on through from one nostril and comes out from the other, it is touching base with a lot of nerves which are connected to your nerves and sinuses in the whole face, which means even that slightest of stimulation in one of the nerves is enough to bring back that circulation or that muscular activity in the whole face. So Jalneti is not just about nose, it can just beautify your face really amazingly. Of course, it becomes a part of your practice on a regular basis. It is known to strengthen eye muscles for the simple reason because a lot of nerves internally are connected, and because of that connection, even if one nerve is stimulated, it passes on that effect on to the other nerve. The third one gets stimulated, the fourth one gets stimulated, and that's how the entire effect passes on to a very it has a very spiral kind of an effect. So it is one of the best practices to also not just strengthen your eye muscles but also improve your eyesight, and also it very deeply works on dark under eye circles also. It is not going to happen in a day, of course, but then it is about getting into that practice and being consistent with it. Also, along with it, only Jalneti is not the solution. You have to clean out your entire lifestyle. You have to clean out your diet. You have to clean out your way of life. When everything all together comes into practice, you will see amazing transformations happening to you. And then Jalneti also cleanses the upper respiratory tract, which is clogged, which when clogged is also cause of many of skin and weight issues. So because of the cleanse, so how it cleanses the upper respiratory tract, because whatever toxins get accumulated in the respiratory tract, and this is very important in our pandemic times also. How is it helping us? Virus enters our body, any kind of virus or dust particles enter our body through our nose, right? So if we have a practice where we are constantly cleaning our nose, that virus will be out rather than entering in. So it's a very precautionary step rather than it's a preventive step rather than a treatment kind of a thing. Okay, the third part of the practice of the self-care is tongue cleaning and oil pulling. Why is this very, very important? Because anyone having that white build up on the tongue, so I guess this is again one of the activity for all of you attending the session right now. Just early morning tomorrow, just go into the mirror and look at your tongue. If you see that white coating on the tongue, what is it? It is basically your digestive system when could not digest the food, and they just get they are like half digested and sitting in your digestive tract, just getting fermented out there. The effect of that, the gases which get produced out of it, the toxins that get produced out of it ultimately rise upwards. It's something like a vapory effect, and those vapors rise upwards. And when you are at the state of rest at the night, in the morning, all that toxic vapors get accumulated on the surface of your tongue. So that white coating on the tongue that you see is a coating of toxicity, and it's also an indication of how toxic you are from inside. These are the same toxins that will give you weak immunity, that will give you all kind of lifestyle disorders, and that will ultimately convert into either an acne or pigmentation or free radicals or destruction of skin at a very deeper level, which means tongue cleaning. So the entire idea should be, as much as you can clean yourself. It is not just about bathing or applying soap to the body. That bathing is an art, cleaning yourself is an art, and this art has been very well beautifully captured by Ayurveda, and I don't think there's any other science which understands the importance of cleaning yourself apart from Ayurveda. And that's the reason we do not ever, these are the concepts that nobody ever tells us also. So tongue in Ayurveda is the microcosm of the entire body. It will, whatever accumulations if you see on the tongue is an indication, is a mirror of what inside, what kind of toxicity you are holding at a very deep level inside. So it also and apart from that, one of the other benefits is it activates your organ functioning also. So invest in a good copper tongue scraper preferably, or any other that you get. But copper tongue scraper, why? Because copper is a very strong detoxifier. As a metal also, it is a very strong detoxifier. So it adds on its detoxifying capacity properties to the cleansing act of this scraper. So this is one of the activities. Another activity to be done after this tongue scraping is oil pulling. This is basically taking one teaspoon of sesame oil and just filling your mouth cavity with oil early in the morning before you brush your teeth, and squishing oil in your mouth cavity for as much long as you can, preferably anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 or 20 minutes. What it does is it is super face beautifying activity. Why? Because it stimulates your face muscles. We do not ever do anything that activates the muscles of our face, that improves the circulation on our face. That's one. Secondly, so this is the beauty benefit. The health benefit is when you do that squishing, the vapory effect of those toxins that we just discussed, which get upwards when the digestion is not 100%. Because of that squishing activity, whatever toxins are still lying in your respiratory tract, because of that squishing push, it comes out and gets mixes into the blood. Because these are very lighter, oil has this capacity of binding these toxins, and then you kind of spit it out. So it's an activity of pushing out toxins out of the body. Okay, so that was about self-care. The third pillar of body work is skincare. A lot of people may not relate to how skincare is related to body work. Anything on the outside that you do for yourself, at Svarasya we consider it as body work, because it is in totality whatever you can do for yourself on the outside, whether it be body work or self-care practices for your senses or otherwise, or skincare. Now, before we move on further, this is coming from my studies, which is a very research based statistics, and these statistics are I suppose these would be somewhere around 7 to 8 years old. I don't know, the numbers may have gone up right now, but this is what, when I was studying, I came to know. An average 16-year-old American girl is exposed to 167 hormone mimicking chemicals in a day in the US, and India is catching up, because the use of the kind of spread of skincare products and household products and chemical products that we want for our kids and for ourselves ultimately is loading our body with a lot of toxins. 167 toxins, and these toxins are hormone mimicking. I'll talk them later, but as of now, just keep these facts in mind. Puberty rate in India has come down from 14 to 16 years to 8 to 10 years. A lot of young girls are getting their periods in their in the age range of the 8 to 10 years. What is the impact? Like, we take it very easily, but what is the impact? Because of the kind of food that we are consuming, I would highly recommend, please listen to our Nourish workshop, which is there on our YouTube channel. There we talk in detail about how foods impact. But the whole idea is, when you look at the puberty rate coming down for Indian girls, and of course girls all across the world, what is happening is we are either doing something from the food perspective, or from the self-care perspective, or from the skincare perspective, or from the environmental perspective, or from the lifestyle perspective, which is creating an up and down of female hormones inside the body, specific estrogen that we just discussed in the previous slide. When the estrogen in the body goes up, it fast forwards the reproductive process inside the body. So estrogen is responsible for so it is not only estrogen, it is a interplay of 3-4 different hormones: estrogen, progesterone, all these hormones coming together. But primarily, the up and down of estrogen, when it happens, it automatically induces puberty in young girls. The impact is, by nature, we were designed to get into puberty by a specific age. Why? Because the body has to be fully developed and mind has to be fully developed to take care of the implications of puberty, the kind of changes puberty comes with. And a child getting puberty in 14 years will be much more mature than somebody in their 8 or 10 years to be able to understand what is happening to you. Because we know periods or puberty does come with a lot of emotional issues. It does come with a lot of physical issues. And for an 8-year-old, it is very difficult to understand why my moods are not right. Why am I feeling stomach pain? Why that cramping is happening? So it's happening at a very deeper level. It is a very, very serious issue. I mean, something that, again, nobody is talking about, but puberty rate coming down, it does have its emotional implications as well. Those mood swings, young girls getting into depression, because estrogen is also related with a lot of emotional and low moods and depressive tendencies. So ultimately, the crux is, your skincare may be causing bigger skin issues. Like, you may be thinking you're applying an anti-acne cream. Ultimately, that anti-acne cream in the long run may be giving you a lot of toxic ingredients that may start to show up in other kind of skin concerns later in in later years. And it may also be the reason behind your weight issues. How? Let me explain that. So what are the skincare trends right now? We are just confused what to buy and what not to buy. My simple advice is going to be, go as simple as you can. That is the key, because the more you are confused, right? Why? Because nothing is, as long as the integrity of the brand is maintained, nothing comes without chemicals. Nothing at all comes without chemicals. And since we come from we have our own skincare brand, we know what kind of challenges we've faced to come up with a very clean kind of a skincare. It has not been very, very easy, because everywhere everybody talks of chemicals, and we really wanted to be really away from it. So that's a separate story. But what I'm trying to say is any kind of product that is getting in your body or on your body may be hormone mimicking. What does that mean? Xenoestrogen. This is basically a synthetic version of estrogen, which enters our body through absorption, either through a skincare product or through it may also be coming through something like dairy milk. If you consume a lot of milk, and if the cow from where the milk is getting produced is being injected hormonal injections, ultimately those injections are not being injected to the cows, but ultimately entering our body with those hormones, which fast forward our hormonal activity. And that's the reason the puberty rates are really drifting away, because and those hormonal mimicking chemicals are entering our body from various sources. So one of the major sources, of course, is skincare. The other one is dairy products. So xenoestrogens are a group of endocrine disrupting chemicals that mimic your body's natural hormone estrogen. So what happens is, when the estrogen from the outside gets into your body, your own body's capability of making that estrogen function right inside the body, one, goes down. Secondly, estrogen load happens inside the body, because it's happening from the inside also and the outside also. What is the result? When chemicals that mimic our natural hormones get into our bloodstream, they can disrupt natural hormone functioning. It leads to higher levels of circulating estrogen in the bloodstream. If the bloodstream has a lot of estrogen, it is the beginning of a lot of physical and emotional changes happening inside the body. This can lead to a host of health concerns, specifically for women. A woman who's not able to lose weight, that yo-yo feeling or that yo-yo weight carrying, is majorly because your estrogen is not balanced. So somebody who's trying to badly lose weight in a specific age group, say somewhere between 30 to 45 or 50, please look into your areas whether or not you may be having your hormonal imbalance, because estrogen could be the reason behind it. And that estrogen may be getting into your body through your skincare products, through your food products, through processed and refined foods, through pollutants, through your emotions also. When you don't think right, your hormonal imbalance starts to happen. That hormonal imbalance disrupts all the hormones, not just estrogen. So it is very important to make informed choices, not just in your skincare, but in each and every area of your life. These are the times when we have to be very mindful of the choices that we are choosing for ourselves in any of the area that we are getting into. So the more options that we have, the more confused state it is. So the simple formula here is, be very simple and natural, as simple and natural as you can. That's where you're preserving yourself. Rest all is a fad. Okay, what is the impact of xenoestrogens on skin and body? It causes a state of excess estrogen. What are the symptoms? So if you have any of these symptoms, if you have constant bloating, if you're not able to lose weight constantly, if you have these fibroids or lumps in the breast, or you have mood swings, irregular periods, or you have constant headache problem, weight gain, hair loss, fatigue, low libido, inflammation, heavy cycles, these are indication that your estrogen is imbalanced. And this estrogen, of course, is getting imbalanced due to various factors. Just look into what kind of products you are into, and the very first thing that you ought to do is just get rid of products as much as you can. Just closely look into the labels of the products. Just see, do your own research, look at each and every chemical, go and Google it and find out what is the impact of that chemical. You will be surprised to see how many chemicals are we taking inside on a daily basis. Okay, so xenoestrogens, the little known cause of weight gain, bad skin, and hormonal conditions. Xenoestrogens are the synthetic substances we've just discussed, and these are getting into our body through air, food, beauty products, whatever. Like, it's coming from everywhere. The modern women's world is filled with toxins we do not even realize, and we are so fond of just filling our shelves with n number of perfumes and number of skincare products and number of whatnot without realizing. Ultimately, a few years later, when breast cancer happens, or when your skin or your body starts to just go out of shape, you cannot even realize it could be because of that hoarding of stuff that you're doing in your almirahs. So have you ever considered what these toxins could be doing to you? Let's just understand that. So we've already discussed that it's giving you, it may be the reason behind your weight gain, bad skin, or hormonal conditions. Can your skincare affect your waistline? Again, yes. How? Because many of your skincare products expose you to heavy pollutants. Again, ultimately these could be xenoestrogens, and xenoestrogens, the kind of chemicals being used in perfumes, makeup items, cleansers, moisturizers, serums, or any kind of skincare products. Ultimately, these may be endocrine disruptors. There are a lot of estrogens getting into our body through these sources, which interfere with the normal function. And these are majorly found in conventional skincare products. I would not want to name specific products, but you can just see and compare. Like, just to give you an example, when you compare why is one product very expensive when they have the same ingredients as compared to another product which comes at the cost of 1/5 of the cost. Just try, don't go by the cost, also try to understand what is it different. Maybe the product which is a little higher is more on the clean side, and the product on a cheaper product comes packed with all these pollutants, which is giving us all these problems, because these chemicals are really cost effective, and that's why a lot of companies are just banking on them, just producing such kind of skincare products. One of them, so these endocrine disruptors, xenoestrogens, mimic the natural estrogen activity of the body, which is a sex hormone. These trick our cell receptors. So what they do is they kind of confuse our cell receptors and cause hormonal imbalance. Some of the issues coming out of it are, PMS, your painful periods, headaches, weight gain. So these are from the health perspective. From the beauty perspective, a lot of women see acne breakout just before their periods, or they feel that rash on the skin happening just before their periods. Probably your imbalance of estrogen is happening at that specific point in time. So your skincare may be preventing you from losing those final pounds. You really need to see if it is your skincare that is giving you a lot of beauty, health, and body concerns. Okay, so very quickly, I'll just take you through what are some of the common chemicals which are used. So the list is huge. I cannot even name what, again, coming from having our own skincare brand. When we started the brand and the kind of research we did, we were just shocked to see what is happening in the industry. But some of the commonly used chemicals are sulfates. Now, sulfates are used for lathering, like when the shampoos or the face washes, which just even with a small amount of it give you huge leathery effect. What they do is they can irritate your skin and eyes, and these are sulfates are also found in mascara. So some people generally get some irritation in the eyes when they apply mascara. Probably it's the sulfate giving them that irritation. Parabens, we know, widely known chemical. It is used as a preservative. This is one of the preservative, which is a xenoestrogen. So if your skincare products are cost effective and do have parabens, probably if the skincare products have parabens, they will be cost effective, because a lot of companies, to increase the shelf life of the products, use parabens. These are xenoestrogens. Ultimately, maybe giving you a feel good factor, of course, but internally they are causing much havoc, specifically havoc on your bloodstream, liver, and your hormonal system. Then you have phthalates, which are used for spreadability. Like for products, we are specifically looking for a product which spreads really nicely without realizing if it is a chemical or what. But phthalates, because of their spreadability, like something like a nail polish or something that spreads well, it does create a lot of toxic accumulations at the reproductive level, again at the hormonal level. Artificial fragrances in these skincare products like perfumes, moisturizers, shampoos, cleansers, and conditioners. In research, these have been proven to be respiratory disorder causing skin allergies. And we have just discussed how respiratory system is one of the beauty systems inside the body. And then you have lead, which is again a known toxin, which is very widely found in a lot of brands of lipsticks, eyeliners, and foundations. It is a very heavy metal, and heavy metal is one of the biggest upcoming reasons for a lot of, up till few years back, we were aware of lifestyle disorders, right? Now there's a new wave of new form of health conditions starting to emerge, because of something called heavy metal toxicity. These heavy metals we are taking in, it's coming through our environment because our there's a lot of pollutants in the environment because of industrial expulsions. One, secondly, these heavy metals are also used in skincare products very heavily. A lot of people who use a lot of, specifically in the beauty industry, people using a lot of heavy chemical products are also the people who often face a lot of breast cancer issues. There have been studies where such linking has been made. So it is a heavy metal toxicity causing much harm to health and skin. And there's something called a wave of different kind of health conditions starting to emerge, which is called autoimmune disorders, which is basically your immune system giving up because of the level of toxins our body is processing these days. So ultimately, when we talk of skincare, some of the common skin concerns that we often come through, it's acne, aging concerns, pigmentation, wrinkles. These are some of the ones, but there are a lot many more. Ultimately, what is that one thing that is giving birth to any of these conditions? It's basically inflammation inside the body. Okay, so inflammation is basically too much of heat inside the body. Now, this is one product, Shatabhata Grita, that I guess in India we are the only ones doing this, and this was a very challenging product for us to make, but we really wanted to get into the ancient skincare. What is this product? This is basically, Shatabhata Grita is nothing but 100 times washed ghee. So which means ghee is washed 100 times in a copper vessel, and because of the process, the way it is done, because of the process it becomes a cream, one. Secondly, and because it is done in a copper vessel, copper is very highly detoxifying and it is very cooling in nature. So the properties of copper get, as a part of washing, gets mixed with the properties of copper, and ghee get mixed up to create something like a very anti-inflammatory kind of product. Now, this anti-inflammatory, what it does is, any kind of inflammatory condition, either on your skin, on your face, or on the body, it's basically too much of heat inside the body. So from the ancient perspective, how we look at it is heat and cold. So when you have a heated body condition or a heated skin condition, what will cool it down? Anything cool will cool it down. So what is cool? We are not talking of cold water. Cold water does not have a cool nature. We are talking of things which have cool nature. So this cream automatically inherits a cool nature because of the process it goes through. The benefits, it has been proven in research that this formulation, so it has been proven in Ayurvedic research, because this is something modern science again will take years to realize, but in Ayurvedic researches it has been proven that any kind of skin formulation or any skincare product being made, the base of that product should be replaced with Shatabhata Grita, because this is so highly anti-inflammatory. It does not just have beauty benefits, but it also has anti-inflammatory benefits, therapeutic benefits also, which means any of the skin conditions that we just talked about, whether it be acne, of course not active acne, but if your skin is prone to acne, because when the acne is there, of course that bacterial activity is going on, and then we don't want any oily stuff to be applied there. But if you do not have an active acne, or if you have any aging concerns, pigmentation, wrinkles, dull, lifeless skin, or psoriasis, eczema, rashes, whatever, these are all inflammatory conditions, and anti-inflammatory base is what you need to kind of work on it, not those treatments or chemicals, because the chemicals will just peel off the skin, making your skin even more prone to deeper level of damage. One insider, when we were working on this, this is a very ancient Indian product. The formulation for this is mentioned in Charak Samhita, which is the oldest Ayurveda text, and so this is what we are reviving back from in our skincare formulations also. This product is, it's not manufactured much in India. Like if you look at Shatabhata Grita also, you'll just find Svarasya doing majorly of Shatabhata Grita in India. But a lot of, it's not that it is not being made in India, it is being made in India, but in India it is not, we just don't know about it. In Europe, it is such a big rage. All of what is produced in India is shipped to either Europe or US, and this was an eye-opener for us also when we were doing research into this, because we really wanted to get into this product. And a lot of it is just exported. Indians not even having a hint of how powerful our ancient tradition is. So if you would want, you can just look at it on our website. These are some of the other products. These are all skincare, clean skincare products that we are doing. Most of them are driven from ancient skincare, formulations. Like one of the products that you see on the left side, Kiyomiru, and the other one on the right side, Sukurabu. These are the Oriental products. Like these are the products which have a 1200-year-old history, used by Japanese queens in their times when the cosmetic industry wasn't there. So we have retained the texture and consistency exactly the way it was used in the ancient times. We did not play around with it at all, using the same ingredients. So this is the kind of skincare that we are trying to bring on board, along with a lot of ancient knowledge, holistic knowledge about what is it that creates your beauty. It's not just a one product miracle coming from some chemical background, peeling or something. That's just a very superficial level fad. Okay, and lastly, the last leg of Bodywork is sleep, beauty sleep. Why? Because whatever we've talked till date was all just about activity, being on the move, moving, exercising, and all that. That helps you at one level. What is equally required is, once you're done with the activity and when you get into a deep state of rest, that is where the rejuvenation happens. So if you're just exercising, or just moving throughout the day, even if you're having the best food, even if you're having the best exercising regime, and if you're not resting, do you see that your skin doesn't look very nice, or that radiance does not happen, and that dullness still stays back? Why is it so? Because the skin cell turnover only happens in a state of rest, and that's the reason beauty sleep is a must. So if you have burnt out yourself with Bodywork or exercise, it is just the energy consumption that you've done, the burning part of cells that you've done. What will recreate those cells is the time when you are in a relaxed state. So sleep is the foundation of youth, as we know that, but it is not a myth. There is a science behind it. The relaxation phase during sleep, especially post midnight. So for a lot of people who have a habit of sleeping late at night, it is not just hazardous for your health, but for your overall appearance. Why? Because as long as you're awake, your body will not get into a rejuvenation mode. It needs a really calm, silent state of you, relaxed muscles, relaxed nerves to start recreating all those cells from the inside. Your cells skin cells get busy dividing to repair the skin. This happens in the state of rest. If you're awake at that time, the quality of skin is badly affected in the later years. This has been proven in research. Studies suggest late night sleeping habit and less than 6 to 7 hours of sleep in the long run makes you look much older in your later years, and this has been proven in research. Eye puffiness is because unclean body accumulated toxins show up everywhere. So have you ever experienced those puffy eyes and those dark circles? Why is it happening? Because at the night time, the body is processing toxins out of the body to be thrown out of the body. When you're not resting or relaxing, those toxins are retained. They are still in. They are not passed out, and that is what, because they are in, they are kind of reflecting from everywhere, in your mood, in your lethargic body state, and under your eyes, if at all those toxins are getting impacted. Your skin and hair receives nutrients from your bloodstream. Due to unrested body, your bloodstream is not flowing properly. Why? Because till the time you're in active state, your circulation is working to keep you in that high. And poor sleep leads to production of cell stress hormones, cortisol, which we have just discussed. Excess cortisol for the body and skin is really hazardous. It is one stress hormone which can give you everything from acne to wrinkles to weight gain to whatever you can relate to from your beauty perspective. So I guess this is what I had for you today. I guess I could, a lot of mythbusters did happen today. I mean, I would really, as a part of our brand also, we would really want you to be quite aware that gone are the times when we were just looking for that one product miracle that can just transform us from inside out, or a salon solution or a spa solution or this and that. Your beauty is really something you have the power to recreate it, and it all happens from the inside. Of course, outside maintenance is very, very important, but the kind of choices that you make for your skincare will go a long way in determining what is happening inside also. And of course, because we are exposed to a lot of pollutants, you cannot give up outside care. It is much, much, much required. So this was about Bodywork. We will be conducting sessions on other 3 dimensions, which is emotion, self-realization, and energy, which are again very, very interesting topics, and that's where you get connected to the deep-rooted aspects of yourself. We'll keep you informed of all the new sessions coming up. But yeah, I guess this is all that we had for today. So if you have any of the questions, maybe we can just stay back for another 5-7 minutes to take up any questions if you have, and And of course, we will be, declaring the giveaways on Instagram. So if you're not following us on Instagram, maybe you can follow us there, because the results will be declared there. And so if you are there on Instagram, you probably have a higher chance to win. That's one. Secondly, the criteria would be, please, in 2 to 3 lines, if you can just share your experience of the workshop and what did you learn with us, and what would you further want to learn from us, from all this 5-dimensional perspective. I would highly again recommend, please go through our Nourish workshop also. It was also equally informative, and all the other sessions that we have done previously, because that will give you a lot of insight into how all the dimensions are so closely connected. So, okay, one of the questions is how to work on estrogen levels after 40. Okay, so this is a very, again, it's a very holistic, deep-rooted topic. We will soon be conducting a workshop on that, but very quickly to give you an idea on that, after 40 is the time when you need to be really aware and look into your kitchen. The very first thing, what kind of foods are you consuming? Because we know estrogen gets high into our body when we are very high on dairy. So dairy is the first food that I would recommend you all to look into, and if you can just eliminate or go low on, because of those estrogen, those hormonal injections being injected to the cows, it's ultimately entering our body and doing a lot of play around in our body. So that's one. Secondly, look into your skincare products that we have already discussed. Please get rid of any of the skincare products. Do your own research, look into the chemicals that you find on the skincare products, and Google it, and just be aware yourself. I guess that's the biggest key. Thirdly, definitely do get into exercising, because after 40, specifically weight training is an absolute must. If you're not moving, even if you're having the best foods, even if you're having the best skincare products, clean skincare products, everything, but if the movement is not there, the muscles start to get sluggish, the body functioning, that those systems, the beauty organs that we are discussing, the function systems, they start to get sluggish. If they are sluggish, even if you're having the best foods, the processing is not happening, right? So that cycle starts to happen back again. So just look into and plus also look into your emotions. If you have this tendency of getting into lows deeply, get into some breath work, get into some meditative practices. Just try to bring yourself on balance. So these will go a long way in balancing your estrogen levels in 40s. How does sugar affect our skin? Okay, so sugar, sugar is very highly inflammatory. It is very, very highly inflammatory. If we talk of sugar energetics, like we know, when sugar, we all eat sweets. Like in the past, of course, I have given up on a lot of sweets, but in the past, even I used to have a lot of sweets. Any kind of rasagulla, like if you ever had, and if you keep that sweet liquid of that sweet for a few days, how does it happen? It becomes really sticky, right? So this is what sugar does inside our body. Like this is how our yoga teacher also used to tell us, like, why give up on sugar? Why? Because sugar will kind of create too much of stickiness inside the body from an energetic perspective. It will start to stick, because internal organs and capillaries are very, very, very tender organs. So that tenderness starts to get stuck with the toxicity, starts to attract a lot of toxins, and start to build up a lot of toxicity around those specific parts of the body. That's from the energetic perspective, but from the physical perspective, it is very, or biological perspective, it is very highly inflammatory. When inflammation happens inside the body, it's an indication of too much of heating conditions. Acne is a heating condition. Eczema, psoriasis is a heating condition. Your rashes is a heating condition. Pigmentation is happening because your body has a lot of heat. So precisely 80 to 90% of skin conditions that you're experiencing are probably because of high inflammation inside the body. So, okay. So I hope you have shared your experiences with us. We will just give you another 2 minutes to share if you have anything else. And if you have any questions, we would highly recommend you can just go and look into our website. We have a section on our website where we entertain your questions, and from there we'll pick up the questions and answer all of these questions from all the perspectives, from food perspective, from lifestyle perspective, from bodywork perspective. We'll be answering all, relating everything to beauty, how it impacts beauty. You can look this section under I guess it's the third menu on our website. Just expand it. You will see a section called Good Question. Just enter your question there. We will receive your question and we'll answer it back and put it back on the website. So we will be having a repository of all the answers of the questions that you may be having. Yeah. So, okay, great. So I guess we can wind up the session now. You can visit us on Instagram because the results will be declared there, and try to follow us because we are soon coming up with a lot of, conversations around the same topic from the experts as well. So we are also tying up with a lot of experts from different sectors, discussing how, different aspects are related to beauty. So it would be really an eye-opening kind of a platform for you all. And do listen to our previous workshops also on our YouTube channel. You will be able to relate much to what we've discussed today as well. Okay, and one last thing before we wind up, in case you're not able to submit the questions on our website, please feel free to drop your questions to us in our email, or you can also drop us questions on our Instagram messenger also. So anywhere we get the question, we will be converting these questions either into blogs or videos or whatever, so you will be having better understanding to your questions. Yeah, great. So yeah, thank you so much. I guess we're done with the session. We can now wind up. Thank you, Ashna, for sharing the Instagram link. So Ashna, can you also share the YouTube link? Maybe they can just have a look at that also if anybody's interested. Thank you. So one last thing, if you would be interested in re-listening to the session, we will be sharing the recording of the session in your mails also. So your mails could also be, you could just check your junk folders also in case you don't get a mail from us by tomorrow. So that's also another way you can just check out the session again. Thank you so much.